Hello guys, welcome to my channel WebGR of Talents, and in today's video we will be looking at the chapter Tissues. It's the chapter 6 of the subject Biology. Biology is a part of science, of course, and it's of class 9 NCERT. So of course it would be of CBSE. So this is the third part of this chapter Tissues. I have already made two videos. The first part was this, and the second part is right here. So if you hadn't watching these videos, you won't be understanding this part perfectly. So I recommend you to watch the previous two parts first and then watch it. If you already had watched the two parts, it's cool. If you hadn't watched it, don't at all get worried. The links are in the description. Watch them right now. So in today's video, we will start with the permanent tissues of plants. So we already completed the simple tissues in the previous parts of the video. So let's look at permanent tissues now. A permanent tissue is a group of cells which is derived from the meristematic tissue, but these cells have lost the power of division temporarily or permanently. So these tissues were before meristematic tissues, but now they have lost their energy, so they became dead. Of course, when you are living, you do some type of work. When you are dead, you are buried, no work with you. Of course, it's with plants also, and according to it, the tissues are named. So there is an important note that we have in this permanent tissues, that is a development process by which cells which have been derived from meristematic tissue take up a permanent shape, size and function which is called differentiation. So this part is not there in the textbook, but I am giving you as a special information. Okay, it will be needful for you in any competitive exams also. So what is differentiation? Development process by which cells have been derived from meristematic tissue. That is nothing but differentiation. So even these permanent tissues are of two types. So in this chapter tissues, the mind map or flow chart is too large. It's very difficult to remember all the names, but keep on reading it and watch the videos 2-3 times. You'll understand everything thoroughly. So the first type of permanent tissues that we have here is simple permanent tissue, and the second type is the complex permanent tissue. So these are very simple names that we have got for these permanent tissues, which is simple is permanent, that is simple permanent, which is complex and permanent, that is complex permanent. So this is a mind map or flowchart of this only permanent tissue part or bit. So here as you can see, permanent tissue is divided into simple and complex. So in this simple part, it's divided into three main parts. That is parenchyma, collenchyma, and third one would be sclerenchyma. And complex tissues, complex permanent tissues, we will be looking at two main things, that is xylem and phloem. So this is the basic main division of permanent tissues that we are going to see. First we look at the simple permanent tissue and its types. Then we'll go to complex permanent tissue and we'll look at xylem and phloem. So let's see simple permanent tissue now. So simple permanent tissues. These tissues are composed of cells which are structurally and functionally similar. As I have said you right before, again these tissues are of three types. So these tissues are composed of cells which are quite similar. So the first type of simple permanent tissue would be the parenchyma. Second type would be collenchyma, and the last type is sclerenchyma. I'm reading it once again so that you'll remember the names. The first one is parenchyma. The second one, collenchyma. And third one is sclerenchyma. So observe the pronunciation also so that you will be familiar with it. So now, what is parenchyma? First we'll look at parenchyma, then we'll look at sclerenchyma and the other thing. So parenchyma. Parenchyma forms the bulk of plant body. It consists of thin-walled lining cells or living cells. It contains of thin-walled living cells, but actually permanent tissues are mostly of dead cells. It is also dead cell, but it consists of thin-walled living cells. Okay, and it forms a bulk of plant body. And the next importance is that the cells are isodiametric. Now, what is isodiametric? That is equally expanded on all sides. So all the borders are pretty equal. They can fit into each other. And the next type or the next point we can see is that the cell wall is thin and encloses a dense cytoplasm which contains a small nucleus and a large central vacuole. So it contains a dense cytoplasm. So do you guys remember what is cytoplasm? We have read it in the previous chapter, that is cells. The cells contain cytoplasm. So the parenchyma contains a dense cytoplasm and a small nucleus and a large central vacuole. The intercellular spaces are abundant, means they are too small. We don't find much intercellular spaces, but there are intercellular spaces. The parenchyma is present in all the organs of plants, that is roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits and seeds. So the entire plant is made up of this parenchyma. This plant is filled with this parenchyma. So parenchyma cell is very important for the plant for the structural development or growth. Now let's look at this functions of parenchyma. What are the main job that parenchyma does in the plant? So it has a pretty many functions. Let's see them. The first function would be the main function of parenchymatic tissue is storage of food. That is, example, starch in parenchyma of cortex of potato tuber. The next function is that parenchyma forms the framework of all the plant organs and tissue like cortex, pitch or pith, etc. The third function is that parenchyma serves as packing tissue to fill the spaces between other tissues. It is like a coverage or glue stick in the plant. And it stores waste materials of plants such as gum, crystals, etc. So where do we find gum or wax? We get it from wax palm tree. So the wax present there is from this parenchyma. Then the next function is the intercellular air spaces of parenchyma cells allows gaseous exchange. There are intercellular spaces that we discussed right before. They are abundant. So these air spaces of parenchyma cells allow the gaseous exchange, that is movement of carbon dioxide and oxygen in and out of the plant body. And then if chloroplast is present, the parenchyma tissue is called chlorenchyma and it performs photosynthesis. So we can see one more division like thing in this parenchyma, something with chlorophyll. The parenchyma with chloroplast is known as parenchyma. And then in aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in parenchyma to give buoyancy to the plants to help them float. Buoyancy is nothing but like air cell fats so that it stays on water and does not get inside it. If it goes inside the water and doesn't float, it can't get enough oxygen. But fish have specialized features to breathe oxygen present in the water. So such a parenchyma type is called aerenchyma. So with chloroplast, parenchyma is known as chlorenchyma. With air cavities, it is known as parenchyma. So I guess that's enough for today. We will look at the next types of tissues that we have in the chapter in the next video of Vibgyor of Talents. Stay tuned.